welcome back to the spooky edition of I Help Make That, where all month long we just do episodes about horror and horror themed movies. Today's guest you might recognize if you've ever seen or heard of the cult classic Manos, the Hands of Fate, where she played the little girl Debbie. I am, of course, talking about Jackey Neyman Jones. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I got my little puppy chewing on my foot down there, but
Aww.
oh, yeah. I named her after the Doberman, my dog from Manos.
Aww. Aw. What's her name?
Shanka.
Aw. Yeah, but you can hear many, many podcast interviews about her experience making Manos. And she also wrote a book about it called Growing Up with Manos, which you can find on Amazon. But what you might not know about her is that she actually did another B movie in the late 70s that's not as well known as Manos, the Hands of Fate. So we're going to be talking about it today. It was called The Curse of Bigfoot. But before we do that, Jackie, would you like to join us in the anchor ad?
Sure.
So, Jackie, have you ever wanted to create a podcast?
I did I had a podcast for about a year, so it went really well, and I'm wondering why I stopped. It was a lot of fun.
Well, if you ever wanted to start up again, you know what you can use?
What?
Anchor. You know why Anchor?
No?
It is the easiest podcasting platform to use. All you do is sign up for an account. Then you can stream it on all the platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. And you can also just send the link, press record, and you're good to go.
That sounds great. I was actually talking to someone about starting up a different type of podcast than the
Oh,
last one I had. So this is good. Okay.
yeah. So, if you want to start a podcast, try Anchor today. Now, tell me, Jackie, how did you get involved in the curse of Bigfoot?
I know, isn't that strange that I was at 6 years old in Texas, part of a film that became a cult classic, is one of the worst movies ever made. And then in high school in Southern California, I ended up in a scene in The Curse of Bigfoot, which is truly by far a worse movie than Manos. But I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And our drama teacher, Tim Tackett, had a friend out of LA because we were just about 30 miles from Los Angeles. And he had a friend who had uncovered a film that had been unfinished. It had been started in, I think, the mid 60s or late 60s. And then it got shelved, didn't get finished. So this guy decided to finish this film, and to pull it all together, he needed a classroom scene. He wanted to make it almost like a documentary, where he's going to talk about Bigfoot. And so he roped my drama teacher into getting our class into the school on a Saturday. And the teacher got the high school to loan us a classroom. And so the whole drama class went in, and we just sat in this classroom, and this guy we'd never met came in and started lecturing us about Bigfoot. So I'm literally in maybe 5 seconds of it. I don't have a line, but that's just fine. But interesting too is the kid sitting next to me. There's a boy in the classroom with curly hair and glasses, and he was actually the pitcher in the Bad News Bears.
Yeah. Do you remember his name?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I will in a minute.
It's not Jackie Earl Haley, is it?
No, it's David Pollock, I believe.
Okay. So one thing I wonder is watching that scene, were all of the students drama students? Because I noticed a couple extras who looked a bit older than high school age. So do you know?
Uh, no, it was just our drama class. Yeah, I don't remember any other extra students in the class that I didn't know.
Okay.
Just
So
the guy playing the instructor, the teacher was, and then the cameraman. Those were the crew. Those were the only people that I didn't know.
okay. So when your drama class decided to do this and they were coming in, like, what was the atmosphere like? Were they just excited to be in a movie, or were they a little hesitant, like they knew something was kind of off? What was it like?
Well, at that age, and that was 1976, other than David, nobody had been part of a movie. And so we really didn't know what to expect. We just thought it was kind of fun, you know. I mean, weird to say, "Ooh, yay, we get to go to school on Saturday." I don't but being in a movie, knowing that we were going to be part of a movie was pretty exciting. Just sitting there for a few hours was rather boring, though.
Yeah. Well, actually, Dave and you are the only ones who had movie experience at that time.
Oh,
But
that's true. Yeah. But my movie experience nobody knew about because I didn't talk about it much. There was no point. We couldn't find the film. I hadn't seen it since the premiere in 1966. So I didn't know that Manos still existed anywhere in the world at that point.
yeah, but how long did it take to film? Do you remember that?
The Curse of Bigfoot scene?
Yeah.
Oh, probably a couple hours. I mean, I remember we were there for a few hours, but I believe it was like after lunchtime because that way, they didn't have to feed us or anything. So they made sure it fit within a time frame that they didn't have to offer us anything.
Yeah. But when you were on set, I was part of the drama club as well. So, even though it was kind of boring just sitting there, like in between takes, was it at least just sort of fun catching up with friends, talking with them, even if it was about anything other than the movie?
Oh yeah, I mean that was my favorite class. And another side note here is that our drama teacher, Tim Tackett, was 6th degree black belt in karate at the time. And he began every drama class with Tai Chi, which was really nice because it was the last class of the day. And, high school is a stressful time. So for me, it was just my favorite time, not just being in drama class, but he was my favorite teacher. In fact, I'm still friends with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I mean, he's still going to tournaments, and he's, like, God, he's in his 80s. but
Wow.
but he originally he trained with Bruce Lee.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, Mr. Tackett. But
Cool.
so yeah, I loved it. I loved the class. A couple people stand out because they were more dramatic than the others mostly. And David was one of those. I thought he was a bit dramatic, but It
Hmm.
was a fun group.
Good. So once you were done filming, did they end up showing the movie to the class when it came out?
No, I don't remember seeing it for quite a while, and when I did see it, I wasn't able to get through it. I never watched the whole thing. You know, I think I watched up to the scene that I was in, and that was it. It's just so horrible. It's just so bad. And
Yeah.
I tried watching it. Actually, I did watch it just a few months ago, just for the heck of it, you know. And it was hard. It's a hard one to get through. Just so bad.
Yeah, I I saw it in preparation for this podcast, and I think the thing about it versus Manos, and probably why Manos still has this cult following while this movie is pretty much completely forgotten, is that, as bad as Manos is, it at least has something resembling characters and a three-act structure and a plot.
Yes. Yeah.
And Curse of Bigfoot has none of that. There are maybe one or two characters with actual personality, and basically it's just a bunch of exposition, and then like the last 20-30 minutes Bigfoot finally terrorizes everyone, and I think he only terrorizes like one or two people, and then they kill him, and that's the whole movie.
Yeah, and there is absolutely nothing resembling Bigfoot in that costume. Nothing.
No,
It's
it
horrible. It's a horrible costume. It's like they didn't even try.
yeah, it's a very ugly and cheap looking costume, even for even for its budget. Like Manos may be a cheap looking film, but at least there was some effort put into the master's robe. Like for its fans, it's an iconic looking robe for a good reason, but this is just like a very ugly costume.
Yeah, you don't see anybody asking for copies of that. And the master's robe my mother made, my parents designed, and I still remember them laying that fabric out on the living room floor and figuring out the hands and everything. And my mom taught me how to sew, and she made the wives' dresses too. But I've been making custom sized master's robes for several years. I made some crazy commitment a few years ago. I said I'm going to make 100 master's robes signed and numbered. You know, I decided I needed a number so that I could number them. And I'm working on number 51 and 52. So I'm making 52 robes. And I sent one to Australia for a guy who was 6'6". I sent one to England who was 6'8". I'm like, these guys are huge. And then
Wow.
I even made one for a 4'11" woman out of Georgia. So I made all sizes.
Yeah. But back to Curse of Bigfoot and Manos, I think also what helps is that, well, I think Riff Trex did do Curse of Bigfoot like way later on. It wasn't on MST3K, and I think MST3K really helped get Manos out there, which also is probably what has helped it gain some cultural impact, while Curse of Bigfoot didn't really have that platform. But even if it did, it probably wouldn't have still been remembered.
No. I don't think so. It's just too difficult. I mean, that's what Joel and Frank and Trey said about Manos when I talked to them and I interviewed them when I was writing my book, and uh, they said that that was a really hard one to riff. They thought it was gonna just bomb. So they were just as surprised as anybody that it took off. It became an instant hit. I mean, from the moment it showed, it's been voted as the fan favorite maybe 3 times since then for the Turkey Day Awards, for their Thanksgiving Turkey Day Awards.
Yeah, but there are many movies that have been featured on MST3K, and they're still not, really that well remembered because there's been like what over 100 episodes of
Oh,
MST3K.
more than that at this point. I haven't looked lately, but they've done quite a few. And then now with the bring back MST3K on Gizmoplex, that now they're doing a whole other series, and so yeah, they've done a lot. And it's just amazing when they did bring back MST3K and did their crowdfunding. I think they raised like $3.5 million to make this
Wow.
happen. So it's definitely a more popular platform than Riff Tracks, and personally, I think it's because Riff Tracks kind of gets a little sharp edged sometimes.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't seem to be doing things quite in jest. Sometimes it seems a little sharp,
Hmm.
whereas MST is just seems more fun.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to end it. But thank you so much, Jackie, for coming onto the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, before we leave, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yes, I'm doing online Mystery Science Theater themed painting classes. And actually, I'm starting a whole second series of non MST themed online painting classes because it's becoming so popular. So look on dumb-industries.com, and you'll see a lot of the things that I'm doing now.
Great. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And everyone, that was I Help Make That, and I'll see you all later.
Everyone doubted me, but I stuck to my goal. And now I've got Bigfoot trapped in a hole. Take my hand, hairy friend, and I'll pull you out. Then we'll go show the haters and erase all the doubt.
I can't talk, but I love to sing. When it comes to Bigfoot traps, Moon is the king.
At the risk of sounding boastful, I must admit he's right. I've been perfecting traps in my dreams every night.
We go everywhere together, I even come to school.
All those non-believers now think I'm really cool.